Mandatory preliminary check. Is everyone familiar with the rules?
Yes.
Okay. 20 questions, toss-up and bonus. No conferring on toss-ups, conferring on bonuses is fine. Designated captains. Wonderful. Any substitutions? Like, do you guys have not
At the half, we're going to substitute him for.
Wonderful. We'll take care of that at the half. For those of you guys who might not know me, my name is Will. I'm an alumni of Kings Park. Graduated back in 2011. I was on this team, and so thank you guys for coming. It means a lot to have you guys here. And we will start with toss-up number 1. Open both teams. Yes.
After you finish reading the entire question, how much time will we have to buzz in for toss-up?
There will be 5 seconds from the conclusion of the toss-up.
And for bonus?
Bonuses are 5 seconds also.
Okay.
I will indicate with my fingers.
Start with buzz early or no?
Yes, thanks. I am a fast reader, so if you guys want me to slow down, please tell me. Wait till we'll do the first toss-up, and then if you want me to slow down, just toss-up 1. Open both teams. The revolution in this nation was depicted in The Underdogs, a novel by Mariano Azuela. Its culture was analyzed in The Labyrinth of Solitude, an essay by native son Octavio Paz. The treasure of the Sierra Madre was that. Answer?
Exco?
Yes, that's correct. What about your roll?
Right there.
Bonus Farmingdale.
Oh, was that power?
No. Your bonus question. The Bird's Head and the Bird's Tail peninsulas extend from the world's second largest island by area for 10 points each. Name an island north of Australia. Its eastern half is an independent nation whose capital is Port Moresby.
Indonesia?
Correct? New Guinea. The western half of New Guinea is owned by this country. Its other islands include Sumatra.
Indonesia.
That one's Indonesia.
Yeah.
Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, lies on this most populous island in the world.
Jakarta Island.
This is Java. 10 points on the bonus.
Man.
10 points also?
Yep. I will sum up scores at the half, so we'll just wait until that one to do that. Arthur Eddington took, open both teams. Arthur Eddington took pictures during one of these events in May 1919 to test general relativity. The 18-year Saros cycle can predict these events that are most dramatic for the observers in the...
Solar eclipse?
15. Elijah, right?
Yes. Powered up. That's good.
Your bonus. For 10 points each, give the following about the last Russian imperial family. A. On July 17, 1918, the Bolsheviks executed this last Tsar of Russia.
Nicholas II?
The youngest child of Tsar Nicholas, Alexei, suffered from this hereditary disease of the blood.
Hemophilia? Yeah. Hemophilia?
Nicholas had abdicated after this revolution, named for a monk in 1917.
February?
December. Okay.
The February Revolution?
30.
Nice.
Thus 3 to both teams. This show's protagonists travel in a 1967 Chevy Impala whose trunk was once used to trap Crowley. At the end of this show's 8th season, Metatron expelled all angels from heaven. For 10 points, name the CW series in which the brother... For 10.
I think that was the
Alex?
Yes.
Bonus. Like their city, Detroit-related pop culture icons struggled in 2013. For 10 points each, A big-budget film about this Western hero who first appeared on Detroit radio in the 1930s underperformed despite starring Johnny Depp as Tonto. That's it. The Detroit Institute of Arts feared it might have to sell its original version of this marionette, who hosted a kids' show with Buffalo Bob and Clarabelle the Clown in the 1950s. This is Howdy Doody. Given its hard times, some wondered if Detroit should proceed with installing a statue of this character who fought crime in the futuristic Detroit in the 1987 film. For 20. 20? Come on, I love it. Toss it forward, both teams. This author described a crowd of Hungarians under the trees enjoying a keg of beer and an accordion in his poem Happiness. Another work by this poet portrays the title locale as a playroom with railroads and freight handler to the nation. For 10 points, name this poet of Chicago.
Poe.
Incorrect? No dag.
Keats.
Sandberg. Carl Sandburg. Toss of 5 is dead. That was toss of 4. Toss of 5, open to both teams. There are no negs if you answer the question. In 2013, this company acquired British Courier Shuttle to expand its namesake Now valet delivery service. In January 2014, the San Jose-based company founded by Pierre Omidyar refused Carl Icahn's request that it spin off PayPal. For 10 points, name his primary website for online auctions. eBay for 10. Bonus Hills East. The Greek god Uranus was overthrown by his son for 10 points each. Name that leader of the Titans.
Kratos.
Yes. Cronus' mother Gaia helped him because she was upset with Uranus for consigning their uglier children to this place.
Tartarus.
Cronus tried to swallow all of his children to prevent any of them from replacing him, but was tricked into consuming the stone instead of this future leader of the gods.
Zeus.
30. Toss up 6 to both teams. Pencil and paper ready. Scott needs to find the dimensions of a rectangle whose area is 56. He knows its dimensions are integers and its perimeter is 36. Using 2 equations in 2 unknowns, he can find for 10 points what dimensions for a rectangle with area 56 and perimeter.
14 by 4.
That's it. 10.
Was that for 10?
10 for 10. Your bonus. Pressure times volume equals the number of moles times the gas count, R times the temperature. For 10 points each. A, name that law, a simple equation of state used with gases.
Ideal gas law?
That's it. Avogadro's number, which is the number of molecules in a mole, is approximately 6.02 times 10 raised to this integer value.
23.
The ideal gas law can be derived from this theory, whose assumptions include instantaneous collisions, negligible volume, and spherical gas molecules.
Ideal gas theory?
This is kinetic theory. 20 on the
Wow.
bonus.
That's right.
Yep. Toss of 7 to both teams. In a duet in this opera, a birdcatcher repeats the syllable pop. Its second act has scene set in the Temple of Ordeal at the Egyptian pyramids. Tamino loves Pamina, the daughter of the Queen of the Night, in...
Magic food.
That's it for 10.
I'll start with that one. Start with
Eric?
Yes. I didn't know.
Bonus Hills. This religious leader, born around 500 BC, is often sculpted sitting in the lotus position. For 10 points each, name this leader, who is depicted in many enormous statues throughout Asia. In 2001, the Taliban destroyed two enormous Buddhas of Bamiyan. In this country, those statues dated back to the 6th century. Answer. This is Afghanistan. This standing Buddha, completed in 2002 in the Chinese province of Henan, is the largest statue in the world.
The Losan Buddha?
No, this is the Spring Temple Buddha. 10 on the bonus. Toss up 8 to both teams. Richard Montgomery was killed in an attempt to take this city. Battles near this city include Beauport, Sainte-Foy, and a 1759 clash in which Louis-Joseph Montcalm and James Wolfe were slain at the Plains of Abraham. For 10 points, name this capital of a francophone.
Quebec?
That's it for 10. Elijah?
Dan.
Dan. That's 10 to Dan. Bonus. In 1803, the U.S. acquired 828,000 square miles of land between the Mississippi River and the Rocky Mountains. For 10 points each, name that purchase made for 60 million francs.
Louisiana Purchase.
This country sold Louisiana Territory to the U.S.
France.
This Virginian joined Robert Livingston in signing the Louisiana Purchase Treaty for the U.S. He was later elected president himself.
Jefferson.
This is Monroe, 20 on the bonus.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, Jefferson's
Yeah, that was a trick question.
Got me good.
Toss up 9, open to both teams. 9 of these statements, named for Giuseppe Piano, define the natural numbers. Non-Euclidean geometries violate Euclid's fifth or parallel example of these statements. Mathematical arguments start with, for 10 points, what's... yes, 10. Bonus Hills. This state has no official Democratic Party. Rather, the Democratic Farmer Labor Party is affiliated with the National Party for 10 points each. Name the state where DFL Governor Mark Dayton has supported expanding the Mayo Clinic and the Mall of America. Answer. This is Minnesota. Dayton succeeded this previous Republican governor of Minnesota who briefly campaigned for the 2012 Republican presidential nomination before becoming co-chair of Mitt Romney's campaign. This is Tim Pawlenty. This current DFL senator allegedly made faces in snide remarks during a 2010 speech by Mitch McConnell. McConnell told this former comedian that the Senate isn't Saturday Night Live. Answer. This is, oh god, I froze. Al Franken. So nothing on the bonus. We proceed to toss up Ted, after which we'll have a score check and substitutions.
Bonus for you guys. For 10 points each, name these diseases involving the joints. This is the general term for an inflammation of the joints. Its rheumatoid form is an autoimmune disease.
Arthritis.
The big toe is often the site of this extremely painful inflammatory condition caused by accumulation of uric acid crystals.
Gout.
Gout. Sorry.
Infections.
Was it gout?
Yeah. Infections, infarctions, and necrosis are complications of this disorder in which a valine to glutamine mutation leads to misshapen red blood cells.
Anemia? Wait,
No,
No.
just there.
anemia?
It's sickle cell anemia. No.
That's all set. But because that
Toss up 13. During World War I, this man directed the U.S. Food Administration. He served as Commerce Secretary under Warren G. Harding and as President. That's correct for power. Bonus for you guys. In 1960, 3 future presidents were on the tickets for the two major parties for 10 points each. With the help of voting irregularities in Texas and Chicago, this Massachusetts Democrat secured a narrow win over the incumbent vice president. Answer. JFK. Kennedy defeated this Californian Republican who was elected president 8 years later.
Nixon.
Kennedy ran with this Texas senator who succeeded to the presidency after Kennedy's assassination. That's correct for 20. Excess reagent is used in the back form of this process. Phenolphthalein can be an indicator for this laboratory technique that uses a burette containing a solution of known concentration. For 10 points, name this process by determining an unknown concentration of an acid or a base.
Titration.
That's correct for 10. Bonus for you guys. For 10 points each, name these historical subjects of Newbery Medal winning books. Russell Friedman wrote the 1988 Newbery Medal for a photobiography of this 16th president, which also discusses this president's wife, Mary Todd. The 1938 Newbery Medal was awarded to Kate Seredi's book, The White Stag, which retells Hungarian legends about this 5th century Scrooge of a God. Answer. Attila the Hun. A 1981 medal winner by Nancy Willard describes a visit to the inn of this British poet who wrote the Song of Innocence and of Experience. Answer.
John Locke.
William Blake for 10.
Close. Same unit. Yeah, we definitely don't get points on.
Nope.
So I guess.
It's also 50. This artist depicted a farmer walking through a bluish field in Soward. He also painted The Yellow House, which contained the room scene in his bedroom in Our Still Life, vase with 12 sunflowers, is another work by. For 10.
Vincent Van Gogh.
That's not you.
No, that's.
That's me.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Vincent
Yes, that's
Van
right. For 10 points. Bonus for you guys. Pencil and paper ready. Jimmy has two standard 6-sided dice, one of which is red and the other of which is blue. For 10 points each, if both are rolled, what is the probability that A. The number on the red die is greater or equal to 3?
Two-thirds?
Answer. Answer.
Two-thirds.
That's correct. The sum of the numbers on the dice is greater than or equal to 3.
Oh,
Answer.
7/8.
This is 35 out of 36 or 35 out of 36. And see, at least one die shows a number that is greater than or equal to 3.
oh no, I said two.
Answer.
33.
33.
It's 8 over 9. So 10 on the bonus.
Wait, was it greater?
Greater than
Okay, with 5 toss-ups left, we have 165, 155. Toss-up 16. In 1931, this country's second republic was proclaimed, and its king, Alfonso XIII, went into exile. 5 years later, a civil war broke out, hitting nationalists.
Spain.
That's correct for Howard. Bonus over you guys. David Miranda was detained under Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act of 2000 for 10 points each. Miranda is the partner of this journalist who wrote for The Guardian until October 2013. Answer. Glenn Greenwald. Greenwald became world famous after this former contractor began sending him classified documents from the NSA.
Oh, Edward Snowden. No. It's not. It is.
Answer.
Edward Snowden.
That's correct. Miranda was held by this country. Advance notice of his detention was sent to Prime Minister David Cameron.
Oh, in Great Britain.
Great Britain.
That's correct. For 20.
It's like Craig.
David Cameron.
Toss-up 17, open to both teams. The name of this gem is the same as the surname of the author who wrote the Dante Club. In a novella.
The Hope Diamond?
That's incorrect. Just open to this team. In a novella titled for one of these gems, Kino's son, Coyotito, is stung by a scorpion. Mormon scripture mentions one of great price. For 10 points, name this type of gem created by oysters.
Pearl.
Well, I can't accept it now. Because you all answered. And it was on here. Throw it away.
Isn't it the captain has the answer?
No, that's only for bonuses. Okay. Toss-up 18. Northwest of this lake, one can find huge deposits of taconite ore in the Mississippi Range. It contains Isle Royale and is the source of the St. Mary's River near the city of Sault Ste. Marie. North of Michigan's Upper Peninsula is, for 10 points, what largest of the Great Lakes? That's correct for 10. Bonus for you guys. Terpsichore governed dance and Calliope inspired epic poets. For 10 points each, they belong to this set of 9 Greek goddesses of the arts and sciences. Oh, it's a bonus.
The music.
That's correct. Salma Hayek played the muse Serendipity in Dogma, a film by this director of Clerks. He often appears in his movies as Silent Bob. Answer. Kevin Smith. Oh, for a Muse of Fire is the opening line of this Shakespearean history play, whose title king urges his troops to go once more onto the breach, dear friends, during the siege of Holt Clare. Henry V, for 10 points. Toss-up 19. The battles of Edge Hill and Marston Moor occurred during this conflict, in which Thomas Fairfax commanded an army raised by the Long Parliament. Roundheads opposed Cavaliers joined for 10 points. Bonus for you guys. The siblings Jem and Scout, who live in Maycomb, are befriended by a pocket merlin, whose head teemed with eccentric plans for 10 points each. Name that new friend.
Who ran?
It's Dill Harris. Dill Harris appears in this 1960 novel by Harper Lee.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
10. Dill is fascinated with this reclusive behavior of Jim and Scout, who leaves presents like chewing gum in the knothole of a tree.
Who ran?
That is correct for 20. And going into the last toss-up, we have 200, 205.
17. The name of this gem is the same as the surname of the author who wrote The Dante Club. In a novella titled for one of these gems, Kino's son, Koyoto.
The Pearl.
Okay, yes, I can accept that. I had to read all the notes, sorry.
Howard?
Yes, it is. Toss up, I'm sorry, bonus. The siblings, Jem and Scout, who lived in Maycomb, are befriended by a pocket merlin whose head teemed with eccentric plans for 10 points each. Name that new friend.
To Kill a Mockingbird?
No, that's the name of the book, it has to be.
Oh.
Sorry, I have to accept that as your answer, and it's
Dill?
incorrect. The answer is Dill Harris. Dill Harris appears in this 1960 novel by Harper Lee.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah. Dill is fascinated with this reclusive neighbor of Jem and Scout who leaves present like chewing gum in the knothole of a tree.
Seaman.
Bradley.
Fur.
Yes, correct, Lou Radley. 20 points. Toss-up 18. Northwest of this lake, one can find huge deposits of taconite iron ore in the Mesabi Range. It contains Isle Royale and is the source of St. Mary's River near the city of Sault Ste. Marie, north of Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
Weeks career.
Yes, and you're right inside the bonus.
Nice.
Bonus question. One of the simplest converging lenses is one whose two surfaces bulge outward. For 10 points each, name that type of lens whose geometry is contrasted with concave ones.
Convex.
Correct.
Yeah.
An object placed outside the focal length of a convex lens is typically formed this kind of image that, unlike a virtual one, can be projected on a screen.
Real.
Correct. For a real image, the magnitude of image distance over object's distance is the linear form of this quantity. Its angular type is an important specification for microscopes.
Magnification.
Correct.
Oh,
30 points.
I got a 48 on that. I think it's relatively on that, but I don't remember.
Toss-up number 18. Northwest of this lake, one can find...
We did that.
We already
We're
did
on
that.
I'm sorry. Yes.
19.
The battles of Edge Hill and Marston Moor occurred during this conflict in which Thomas Fairfax commanded an army raised by the Long Parliament. Roundheads opposed.
English Civil War.
Correct. 15 points.
No, I hit my foot.
Oh, I thought you said I know the cat was picking it.
your bonus question. The only Democratic president in the 70s served from 1977 to 1981 for 10 points each.
Carter.
Yes, correct. Carter chose to boycott the 1980 Summer Olympics held in this city.
Moscow.
Correct. After his presidency, Carter wrote the novel The Hornet's Nest, which is set during this war that included the Battle of Kings Mountain.
Vietnam.
Incorrect. The Revolutionary War.
That makes a lot more sense.
Toss up 20. This largest sesamoid bone in the body sits in the trochlear groove of the bone above it. It covers a hinge joint between the femur.
Patella.
Correct.
Ian doesn't get that
Sesamoid
right.
is close.
Ian doesn't get that right.
15 points.
Easy.
Good job.
That'd be nice though. You better get that question right.
The horse frou-frou meets a shameful, unpardonable death in Anna Karenina. For 10 points each. Name that novel's Russian author.
Tolstoy.
Correct. Prince Andrei Bolkonsky is wounded at Austerlitz in this lengthy Tolstoy novel about the Neapolitan Wars.
War and Peace. No, War and Peace.
Correct.
It is Tolstoy.
Tolstoy wrote a novella about the death of this man who was fatally injured while showing an upholsterer how to hang curtains.
I can know you.
Correct. 30 points.
Only for that, there's a book for that one. No idea who it is. I might be thinking.
Question number 21.
Oh wait.
Oh, no, we don't read
Yeah,
21
21.
unless,
Yeah, 20 unless
Okay.
there's a
It's a tie.
All right.
unless the tie or there's.
good game, folks.
And the score is?
345 to 240.
Wow.
So tiebreaker.
This process is governed by fixed laws, the first of which says flux is negatively proportional to concentration gradient. Unlike convention, it mixes without bulk motion. The spreading of a drop of dye in water exemplifies. For 10 points,
It's convection.
I'm sorry,
Convection.
incorrect. For 10 points, what dispersion of particles by random movement? Antonio Vivaldi and Jonathan Sebastian Bach exemplify a period of European classical music that began around 1600. For 10 points each, name that period which followed that of Renaissance music. Correct. This set of 6 Bach concertos are dedicated to a Prussian margrave.
Violin concertos?
Sure that.
No, Brandenburg.
Oh, oh.
Bach developed this style consisting of 2 or more lines of music played simultaneously. Its first species was note against note. The second species was 2 notes against 1 note. Correct.
That was the
Brandenburg concertos.
Okay. That is game. The final score is 215 to 380.
Thank you very much.
In this state, Garrett Morton invented the traffic signal. The Michelson-Morley experiment occurred in this state at what is now Case Western Reserve University.
Ohio.
That's correct, for power. Bonus open the North Shore. For 10 points, give the following about soccer teams that won championships in 2013. The inaugural championship of the National Women's Soccer League was claimed by the Thorns, a team in this specific Northwest city also home to the MLS's Timbers.
Oh, Seattle, right? Seattle or Portland? Portland.
So your captain?
Yeah.
That's correct. This German squad won the 2013 FIFA Club World Cup 7 months after capturing the UEFA Champions League.
Defer.
This is Fußball Club Bayern.
Yeah.
This European country's
Wait, I got
You get it?
wait, that's what you said? Or?
He said Bayern, right?
Bayern?
Bayern.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so
Oh.
fine. Okay, so toss it, bonus 3. This European country's Serie A league won by Juventus, a team based in Turin.
Turin is Italy.
That's 30. So toss up 3. In one book by this author, the town of Desmet is saved from starvation by Cat Garland and this author's future husband, Almanzo. This author of The Long Winter set her first book in the big woods of Wisconsin. For 10 points, name this author of Little House on the Prairie.
Rory Mazzarella.
That's correct for 10. And that was an incorrect, sorry. In this series' Heart Gold and Soul Silver iterations, players can face off against Red, its original protagonist, for 10 points each in this video game series in which trainers battle and capture creatures like Charizard and Pikachu.
Pokemon.
2 answers required. Mega Evolutions were new features in these 2 Pokemon titles released for the Nintendo 3DS in October 2013.
Red.
Red and black.
Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. In X and Y, this genetically modified Psyche-type Pokemon can be fought in a cave in the Pokemon Village. In the first Pokemon movie, this character strikes back.
You too?
That's correct. 20 points. It's also 4. In 2012, this country's Mustafa Agush failed to form a cabinet, leading the development of welfare party's Ali Zidane to become prime minister. In October 2011, its city of Sirte saw the murder of her.
Libya.
That's correct for 10. Twice. In 2013, Eric Garcetti became a city's first elected Jewish mayor for 10 points each. Name that West Coast city, formerly led by Antonio Villaraigosa.
Los Angeles, I think. Los Angeles.
That's correct. In 2012, this female senator from California was re-elected in a landslide over Elizabeth Emkin. This former mayor of San Francisco is the Senate's oldest currently serving member.
Dianne Feinstein.
That's correct. This man was elected governor of California in 2011. He had previously served as governor from 1975 to 1983.
Jerry Brown.
30. Toss-up 5. This element was being studied by David Lee and Douglas Osheroff when they observed superfluidity. That's correct for power. Bonus. The Untouchables targeted a mobster who was eventually convicted of tax evasion for 10 points each. Name that leader of the Chicago outfit during Prohibition. He was nicknamed Scarface. That's correct. In this 1929 attack, Capone's gang killed 7 members of Bugs Moran's gang.
Valentine's Day Massacre.
That's correct. The Untouchables were headed by this leader of the Justice Department, Prohibition Bureau, in Chicago. It's Elliot Ness, 20 on the books. Toss-up 6. The fall of this city was preceded by failed expeditions to Lake Providence and Steele's Bayou. John Pemberton surrendered this city to Ulysses S. Grant on July 4th, 1868.
Viceroy?
That's correct, and you're all powered.
It was or was not powered?
That was not powered.
Thank you.
Bonus. Lake Oahe was formed by the construction of a dam for 10 points each. That lake is in this state, home to Wind Cave National Park.
Kentucky.
South Dakota. The namesake formations of this other South Dakota National Park are highly eroded buttes and spires.
Garden of the Gods? No.
Answer.
Yosemite?
Badlands. South Dakota's most popular landmark is the Gutzon Borglum sculpture depicting the four faces of our president. Depicting four faces of presidents.
Mount Rushmore?
That's correct. For 10 on the bonus.
Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs.
Let's hope so. One character in this film refers to bats as chicken of the cave after revealing that his restaurant sells fried bats. After becoming blind, its title character moves to a lighthouse and raises a shark named Dobie. For 10 points, name this 2013 sequel about San Diego newsman Ron Burgundy.
Anchorman 2.
Oh, that's correct for 10.
Number 12. One early explorer of this modern-day nation, Gregory Blaxland, was the first white man to cross its Blue Mountains. This nation was circumnavigated by Matthew Flinders, while its eastern coast was explored by James Cook. For 10,
Australia.
Australia is correct for 10. Bonus at 10. One British duo premiered many of its most famous works at London's Savoy Theatre. For 10 points each, A, name those creators of operettas like The Mikado and The Sorcerer. Answer, please.
Smith.
No answer. You needed two names. It was Gilbert and Sullivan. B. Sir Joseph Porter is the self-proclaimed ruler of the Queen's Navy in this operetta. Ralph, or Ralph, serves under Captain Corcoran in this title ship, which is named for a girl's apron.
It has singing and talking in it.
Answer, please. And no answer. HMS Pinafore. And C. This operetta, set in Cornwall, features a blowhard army officer who considers himself the very model of a major modern general.
General.
Any answer? It is the Pirates of Penzance.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
All right, on to, they got no points for the bonuses. Question 13. The first cover of this man's best-known work shows tiny men forming the body of a crowned figure holding a sword and a crozier. That work argues for a social contract to end the state.
Hobbes.
Hobbes is correct. That is, did I say state? I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did. Okay, so it's 10 points. You guys got 10 points? And we go on to number 11. The play, Hedda Gabler, portrays an academic rivalry. For 10 points each, A, it was written by this 19th century playwright of The Wild Duck.
Ibsen.
Ibsen is correct for 10. B, Ibsen was born in this present-day country. He drew on its legends for Peer Gynt. Norway, I'm sorry, yes, that is correct. C, in this other Ibsen play, the widow, Helen Alving, founds an orphanage, but is unable to save her son from the consequences of his father's misdeeds.
The Doll's House?
No, it is called Ghosts. Called Ghosts. They got 20 points for their bonuses. And we go on to the next question. Question number 14. This state responded to the bankruptcy of gaming company 38 Studios by suing Curt Schilling. Sheldon Whitehouse is a senator from this state where the husband of skater Michelle Kwan is running to replace Governor...
Massachusetts.
It is not Massachusetts, Neg 5. Let me finish the question. Governor Lincoln Chafee. For 10 points, name this state with capital Providence.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island for 10. Absolutely correct. I don't know if anybody else is curious, I know I am. It says Rhode Island loaned Schilling's for money. That's why they sued Curt Schilling. Oh, for children have to do. Anything really, except the bloody sock. All right, number 12. Bonuses. Bosons are represented by wavy lines on a type of diagram used to show particle interactions. For 10 points each, A, identify those diagrams named for an American Nobel laureate who helped develop quantum electrodynamics.
Like diagram?
Feinstein diagram?
It is Feynman diagrams. B, Feynman diagrams use one axis for space and the other axis for this quantity. It is the fourth dimension in Minkowski space.
Time.
Time is correct for 10. And C. In Feynman diagrams, this type of particles is depicted as moving backward in time. They are typically indicated by an overbar. Any answer?
Bosons?
They are not, they are antiparticles. Antiparticles. 10 points for bonuses. Question number 15. Orders in this taxonomic class include Gymnophonia, which contains the Caecilians, and Anura, whose members are the best vertebrate jumpers. Its members frequently lose gills during metamorphosis. For 10 points, name this class that they are amphibians for 10. Amphibians for 10, and you guys get the next bonus set. Alright, your bonus is begin here, number 13. During the Cold War, a communist-built wall divided a German city's east and west portions. For 10 points each, A, name that city. Berlin for 10. B, a 1948 Soviet blockade of Berlin was foiled by this campaign wherein Western nations used cargo planes to deliver supplies for 11 months. The Berlin airlift is correct. C, this West German leader won a Nobel Peace Prize for his policy of Ostpolitik that decreased tensions with East Germany.
Brent, yeah.
Brandt is correct. You guys get all 30. Question number 16. This mountain range runs just east of the cities of Ufa and Perm, where it links the Kara Sea in the north to the Kazakh steppe. This range is considered the western boundary of Siberia.
The Urals?
They are the Urals. 10 points. 10 points for the Urals, and you guys get the next bonus set, which is number 14. The leader of the Freedom and Justice Party resigned from the Muslim Brotherhood after he became president. For 10 points each, A, name that leader who took power in 2012.
What did it say?
Yeah.
Sisi?
No, it is Morsi.
Morsi.
B. In 2013, the military removed Morsi from power in this country following more riots in Tahrir Square.
Egypt.
Egypt is correct. And C. Morsi was ousted by this field marshal and minister of defense.
Sisi.
That is correct. Yes. All right, they get 20 for bonuses. And we go on to question number 17. This religious movement was founded by Wallace Fard, whose successor, Elijah Muhammad, taught of a mother plane built in Japan. The ballot or the bullet speech was given by a former member, Malcolm X.
Nation of Islam?
It is the Nation of Islam, correct. You guys get 10 points for that. Yeah, 10 points for that. All right, number 15 bonus set. Hester Prynne claims the title badge of a Nathaniel Hawthorne novel helped her become a good mother. For 10 points each, A, name that novel. Answer? That is correct, The Scarlet Letter. B, The Scarlet Letter begins in this New England city, which was established by the Puritans. Answer, please? No, it was Boston.
Come on.
See? The novel's final paragraph describes one of these objects, made of slate, that is shared by Hester and the father of her child. Answer? No, it is a gravestone, a tombstone, or a headstone. But not a monument, grave, or tomb.
Yeah, I figured they.
Alright, you guys get 10 points for the bonuses.
Toss-up number 16. This mountain range runs just east of the cities Ufa and Perm, where it links the Kara Sea in the north to the Kazakh steppe. This range is considered the western boundary. The Ural range? That's correct, and it was a power. Bonus number 16. G.N. Lewis defined a class of compounds by its ability to donate electron pairs for 10 points each. A. Name those substances like sodium hydroxide that react with acids.
Bases.
Yes. B. A solution is normally called basic if it has a pH above this integer value.
7.
Yes. C. Water and zinc oxide are this type of substance that can act as either a Lewis acid or a Lewis base.
And 4.
Correct. Toss-up number 17. This religious movement was founded by Wallace Fard, whose successor, Elijah Muhammad, taught of a mother plane built in Japan. The ballot or the bullet speech was given by a former member, Malcolm X, for 10 points. Yes.
Black Muslim Brotherhood?
Name this nation once led by Louis Farrakhan. Time.
Nation of Islam?
It is Nation of Islam. Toss-up number 18. Harlow Shapley overestimated this object's size, or Shapley, from globular cluster data. Shapley's claim to this object represents the entire universe was proven false by Edwin Hubble's measurement of the distance to Andromeda for 10 points. Name this barred spiral galaxy that is home to the sun. Yes,
Milky Way galaxy.
that's correct. Bonus number 18. Senator John C. Calhoun represented the first state to secede. For 10 points each, A, name that state.
South Carolina.
Yes. B, Calhoun propounded this doctrine that states could suspend federal law. A crisis named for this doctrine was provoked by the Tariff of Abominations. Yes. C, South Carolina's longest-serving senator was the Dixiecrat. He delivered a 24-hour filibuster in opposition to the Civil Rights Act of 1957.
Thurmond.
Yes. Toss-up number 19. To the northwest of this island nation, Adams Bridge separates the Gulf of Mannar from the Hawke Strait. The Jaffna Peninsula forms the northern tip of this country, whose capital is Colombo. Ceylon was a former name of for 10 points. Yes.
Sri Lanka.
Correct. Bonus number 19. Pencil and paper ready. Each side of a regular pentagon has a length of 2. For 10 points each, A, what is the perimeter of the pentagon? B, what is the sum of all the interior angles of the pentagon? Yes. C, what is the length of the diagonal of the pentagon? Answer?
No.
I'm sorry, it's 1 plus radical 5, and 1 plus the square root of 5. Toss-up number 20. This author wrote about Kumiko's disappearance in the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle and depicted the student Toru in Norwegian play. The title of a recent novel by this author includes a letter whose Japanese pronunciation is the same as the digit 9. For 10 points, name this author of IQ 1Q 84.
Murakami.
That's correct.
Wow, really? Okay. The only 2.
Bonus number 20. For 10 points each, give the following about non-religious U.S. holidays. A, this president proclaimed that Armistice Day would be observed on November 11th, 1919.
Veterans Day?
No.
It is now. Is that, I guess I'm taking that as the answer, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, B,
What
This-
was the answer?
Woodrow Wilson. B, this federal holiday was proposed in 1882 by Peter J. McGuire, the president of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners of America.
Labor Day?
Yes. C. Sonora Smart Dot was the driving force behind this June holiday, first celebrated in 1910 in Spokane. It only received official national recognition under Richard Nixon in 1972.
Flag Day?
I'm sorry, it's Father's Day.
Father's
Okay, we're finished.
Sorry, game.
I legitimately thought it was really bad.
Okay. Number one. Bonus. The electric flux through a closed surface is proportional to the charge inside that surface, for 10 points each. Name that law from which Coulomb's law can be derived.
What's the Weber's law?
Gauss's law.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Gauss's law is one of these four equations summarizing the classical rules of electromagnetism.
The laws of Chuck.
Close. Maxwell's equations.
Wasn't that bad?
Another of Maxwell's equations is named for this Frenchman, the eponym of the SI unit of current.
Oh, Amperes.
Amperes. Ampere.
Correct.
Amperes.
Quick question, you guys keeping score or no? Sometimes do it short, you are? Could we do
Okay.
a
We'll
score
just switch.
check halfway?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Toss up 2. 2 years after this song's release, on Is There Anybody Out There, Amy Yakima used it on So You Think You Can Dance. I Would Have Followed You sings Ian Axel on for 10 points. What song re-recorded as a duet with A Great Big World and Christina?
Say something.
Correct.
I was thinking in my head, but I was like, what's it called?
Oh, I just didn't want to buzz it.
Alright.
Bonus. For 10 points each, name these significant places from Superman comics. Superman's father put him into a rocket ship just before this planet of his birth exploded. Correct. Superman works for the Daily Planet in this major American city called the Big Apricot.
New York City.
Metropolis.
Correct.
Alright.
I do not follow.
General Zod and Jax were inmates of this prison that includes a ghost-like existence. The first Superman film portrayed it as a two-dimensional rhombus floating through space. Answer?
Like
No.
fourth dimension?
Fourth direction.
Incorrect. Phantom Zone.
Oh.
Same thing. I don't know for
Okay. Toss up number 3. Pencil and paper ready. 2 answers required. Ethel needs to find the 2 solutions to the equation 2x squared minus 8x plus 6 equals 0. By either completing the square using quadratic formula or factoring, she computes, for 10 points, what 2 positive solutions? Yes.
3 and 1.
Correct.
I did the math.
I was like,
I was about to buzz.
I buzzed too.
I was gonna say -3, -1.
Yeah, that's from your math, right, Harris?
Yeah.
Alright, so for the bonus. Milwaukee Braves star Eddie Matthews was on the cover of this magazine's first issue in 1954.
Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated.
Correct. So we're going to be naming these American magazines, I'm sorry, the post-it covering that.
That's okay.
Another one. The best dressed and the sexiest man alive are regular features of this celebrity and pop culture news
People.
magazine.
You don't trust
Correct.
me, Arthur?
I do trust you, I was making sure.
The monocled daddy Eustace Tilley is the mascot of this magazine, not edited for the old lady from Dubuque.
Is it
It was founded in 1925 by Harold Ross and Jane Grant.
the New Yorker?
Correct.
My mom has to read about the all the time.
That's an exciting story.
Toss up 4. These performances entered through the Parados, and they typically revealed background information or unspoken desires. Aeschylus allegedly reduced their number from 50 to 12. For 10 points, name these ensembles from Greek theater who gave their name to modern groups of singers. Correct. Horus. Bonus. Ion channels and active transporters are embedded in a selectively permeable structure that divides the cell from its outside environment. For 10 points each, name that structure. Correct. Water can cross the cell membrane via this passive transport process. Its namesake pressure is denoted by pi, or pia.
Osmosis?
Correct. A cell can eat outside a macromolecules via this process in which the cell membrane invaginates and pinches off, trapping the target in a vessel. Answer.
No answer.
Endocytosis.
Endocytosis.
Endocytosis. Thank you.
Oh.
It also would have accepted phagocytosis or pinocytosis.
Okay.
That one should have been accepted. Not even.
Alright, cool.
It's water.
Okay, there we go. Toss up. In January, this politician released a list of principles that included payment of back taxes and that emphasized employment over family. He later claimed his doubts about whether Obama would enforce laws would keep immigration reform from passing. For 10 points, name this House Speaker.
John Boehner.
Yes, correct.
Stop.
Oh, but I don't want it.
Bonus.
I already did say that.
In November 2013, the Senate Minority Leader accused the Senate Conservatives Fund of giving conservatism a bad name. For 10 points each, name that Kentucky Republican.
Mitch McConnell.
Correct. The Senate Conservatives Fund is aligned with this political movement focused on reducing government spending and government debt. It takes its name from a 1773 protest.
Tea Party.
Correct. McConnell also clashed with this Kentucky governor who wrote an op-ed in the New York Times claiming, "My state needs Obamacare now."
I didn't know that.
No.
Taylor Swift.
Close. Besher.
Nope, still not.
Steve Besher.
Never heard from,
And
In January, this politician released a list of principles that included payment of back taxes and that emphasized employment over family. He later claimed his doubts about whether Obama would enforce laws would keep immigration reform from passing. For 10 points, name this House Speaker. Yes,
John Boehner.
correct.
Nice.
Alex Faisal.
Cries a lot. I don't know.
Bonus 5. In November 2013, the Senate Minority Leader accused the Senate Conservatives Fund of giving conservatism a bad name. For 10 points each, and name that Kentucky Republican.
Mitch McConnell.
I'll defer.
Mitch McConnell.
Correct. B. The Senate Conservatives Fund is aligned with this political movement focused on reducing government spending and government debt. It takes its name from a 1773 protest.
Tea Party.
Yeah, Tea Party.
C. McConnell also clashed with this Kentucky governor who wrote an op-ed in New York Times claiming, "My state needs Obamacare now." No? Steve Bushier. Bushier. Toss-up 6. This author had Mrs. Gould telling the Dian Capitas de Cargadores, Cargadoras, that a load of stolen silver should be lost forever in Nostromo. He also, yes,
Conrad?
correct.
Yes.
Power.
Nice.
So long to.
Bonus 6. The record for the longest reign by a British monarch is held by a 19th century queen. For 10 points each, A, name that ruler.
Victoria.
Correct. B, this liberal rival of Benjamin Disraeli was prime minister 4 times during Victoria's reign.
Blackstone.
Correct. C, during Victoria's reign, this general was killed defending Khartoum from attack by Mahdist forces. Time. Charles Gordon. Toss up 7. Isaiah Berlin wrote about 2 concepts of this quality. Its civil or social variety was the title topic of an 1859 John Stuart Mill book. In 1831, Eugene Delacroix painting shows this.
Liberty?
Correct.
Nice.
Power. Bonus 7. Wu Chang-un's Journey to the West is one of the 4 great classical novels. For 10 points each. A, those novels are part of this Asian country's literary tradition.
China.
Correct. B, the title journey is taken to this modern-day country that was the birthplace of Buddhism.
India.
Correct. This most recent of the 4 great classical novels concerns the decline of the Rongguo and Ningguo branches of the Jia clan.
Water release.
Dream of the Red Chamber.
Water release.
Toss up 8. 1 minus the ratio of 2 of these quantities gives the efficiency of a Carnot cycle. This conjugate variable of entropy is constant along isotherms.
Temperature.
Correct.
Nice.
Was not a question.
I almost said G.
Bonus 8. The right panel of a painting includes a pair of ears that are clamped around a knife blade and pierced by an arrow. For 10 points each. A, name that work whose left panel shows God presenting Eve to Adam. The Garden of Earthly Delights. B, this Netherlandish painter created the Garden of Earthly Delights around 1500. Bosch. C, the Garden of Earthly Delights is this kind of painting defined by the presence of 3 separate panels. Triptych. Toss up 9. This novel's protagonist pretends to be a Thompson and French clerk to assist his indebted friend Maximilien Moreau. Villefort goes mad in this novel, decades after helping imprison its title character. Edmond Dantes.
The Count of Monte Cristo?
Correct. Bonus none. One labor union's name originally referred to those who drove horses. For 10 points each. A, name that union now dominated by truck drivers.
International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
Correct. B, in 1957, the Teamsters were expelled from this conglomerate of labor unions. Its first president was George Meany.
AFL-CIO.
Correct. C, the Teamsters fought this 1947 Labor Management Relations Act that prohibited closed shops and union contributions to federal political campaigns. Ready to answer?
14. Late in his reign, this man had a son, Crispus, and a wife, Fausta, executed. This ruler's victory over Maxentius at the Battle of Milvian Bridge was preceded by a vision of a cross in the sky. For 10 points, name this Roman emperor.
Constantine?
Correct.
Thank God, I couldn't remember his name. I was actually thinking about that story right before this match overall started. But I was like, I can see a question and all that. I couldn't remember.
Bonus. One composer's organ works include Toccata and Fugue in D minor. For 10 points each, name that German who also wrote for the piano as well with his well-tempered clavier.
Yeah, that's a try.
Beethoven?
Incorrect. Bach. This contemporary of Bach is best known for a work now popular at weddings, his Canon in D.
Walt Disney's last two.
Papa
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
This 19th century composer revived interest in Bach's music by conducting his St. Matthew's Passion. His own works include Songs Without Words and A Wedding March.
As you can tell, we're all virtual, so it's here, so.
Alright, time. Mendelssohn. You guys make me mad. I'm a music teacher.
Our music teachers don't teach us these things, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear that.
Matt?
No clue.
So I have a piano work to show 105 kids.
Toss-up number 15. The sulfur iodine cycle is one method for decomposing this substance. The slope of its solid-liquid boundary on a phase diagram is a typically negative, and it has a triple point just above 0 degrees Celsius. For 10 points, name this polar molecule a universal solvent.
Water?
Correct.
Is atypically negative?
Yeah.
I feel like programs
Bonus.
We got past the first round.
A biblical figure's faith was tested when God ordered him to sacrifice his son Isaac. For 10 points each, name that patriarch. Correct. In Islam, Abraham is held to have built this cubic structure in Mecca. Pilgrims circle it 7 times during the Hajj.
The mosque.
Incorrect. The Kaaba. Kaaba. The Quran states that Abraham built the Kaaba with the help of his other son born to Hagar. Ishmael.
Oh, 10?
Yes.
I know this.
Toss-up number 16. This nation contains the entirety of Voltava River, and it saw the Ladis massacre during World War II. The Sudetenland in this nation, whose other regions include Moravia and Bohemia.
Netherlands?
Incorrect. It's no negative. Name this Central European nation once part of a union with neighboring Slovakia.
Czech Republic?
Correct.
Sorry.
Why don't they get
I need points, I'm trying to.
Because it was, the 10 points was right there, right where I stopped.
No, but if you was before.
It was anywhere in the question.
Yeah, it was before the question.
Oh, okay, before the question's over, all right,
Sorry.
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 All right,
You got it.
bonus. For 10 points each, name these literary works about baseball.
Oh,
Okay.
This 2013 novel by Chad Harbaum concerns a shortstop who suddenly loses the ability to throw first.
Can't throw the first members of the shortstop.
The Art of Fielding.
Oh,
This 2003 nonfiction book by Michael Lewis focuses on the Oakland A's thriftiness and obsession with on-base percentage. Correct.
I figured you get one of those with mathematically Moneyball.
This Ernest Thayer Ballad of the Republic ends with a mighty member of the Mudville Nine striking out. Correct. 20 points. Toss-up number 17. In February 2014, this country deported journalist Maria Zanilova and tightened internet access. It is the only nation to recognize Northern Cyprus, but it does not.
Turkey.
Correct.
Oh my god, I should have done that.
15 points.
That's 15? Okay.
Bonus. The Battle of Maipú won independence for a South American country for 10 points each. Name the nation with capital Santiago. Correct. Although he has an Irish-sounding surname, the general ruled Chile as supreme director from 1817 to 1823.
Oh, something?
O'Higgins.
Something. Irish sounding.
This general led the army of the Andes, a mix of Argentinians and Chileans, to victory at the 1817 Battle of Cachibuca.
Bolivar.
San Martin.
Oh.
Oh, right.
Toss up number 18. In the Five Kingdom system, the organisms that cause Chagas disease and malaria belong to this kingdom. It has been called a catch-all for eukaryotes.
Otis?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a
And
catch-all?
I think it's eukaryotes, I think.
It's a catch-all.
I'm not there.
And I see something biology, I would say complete.
The word catch-all means they put whatever they didn't know what it
It was
was.
on the coast, or
That's like
I have 15 points.
You got it.
15, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm
Bonus.
gonna tell Will that.
Prior to the 2013-2014 season, the NHL began using the hybrid rather than the touch definition of a certain infraction. For 10 points each, name the infraction that may be called when a player behind the center line pushes the puck past the opposite goal line.
Icing?
Correct.
I know.
The rule change was prompted in part by an injury to Joni Pitkanen, a defenseman for the southern team once known as the Hartford Whalers.
I got hella Tampa Bay Lightning.
Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes are based in this capital of North Carolina.
Yes, you said that. Remember, that was an answer to the question.
Raleigh.
Charlotte's
20 points. Toss-up number 19. This state was the namesake of a Confederate ship commanded by Raphael Semmes and was the home of the first Confederate capital, the 16th Street.
South Carolina.
Incorrect. The 16th Street Baptist Church bombing took place in what state were Rosa Parks arrest?
Alabama.
Correct, for
Sorry.
10 points.
Just trying to get us points.
Bonus. The nephron is the functional unit of a pair of organs for 10 points each. Name that organ that, if damaged, can result in decreased urine production.
Kidney.
Correct.
Okay, they knew it.
Kicked me there one.
Patients with renal failure can have their kidneys functions replaced by this procedure in which blood count is circulated through semi-permeable membranes.
Dialysis.
Correct. Dialysis fluid contains higher levels of this anion than blood. It functions as a pH buffer in blood, and the presence of protons is converted to water and CO2.
Carbonate.
Incorrect. Bicarbonate.
Oh, man, that hurts.
Yeah, now you're only gonna beat us by like 300.
Toss-up number 20. This nation's Davao is the most populous on its island of Mindanao. Its capital is east of the Bataan Peninsula, and one of its official languages is Tagalog. Luzon.
Philippines.
Correct. For 10 points.
I'm just saying enough.
Three-Legged Martians invade London in the War of the Worlds for 10 points each. That novel was by this early science fiction author.
H.G. Wells.
Correct. The protagonist of this other H.G. Wells novels is able to meet the fierce Morlocks and gentle Eloy by using its title contraption.
Time machine.
Correct. Wells described a society ruled by samurai in a 1905 novel about a modern example of these places. This place was coined in 1516 book by Sir Thomas More.
Utopia.
Correct. 30 points.
Okay. So the Hills East, we have 410, and Pinewood 8.
This nation city of Davao is the most populous on its island of Mindanao. Its capital is east of the Bataan Peninsula, and one of its official languages is Tagalog. Luzon is the largest.
Philippines?
No.
I'm so sorry about that.
We'll go to college. Sure.
You guys have much better luck than this.
Bonus question, number 17. Prior to the 2013-2014 season, the NHL began using the hybrid rather than the touch definition of a certain infraction for 10 points each. A. Name that infraction that may be called when a player behind the center line pushes the puck to pass the opposite goal line. No, the answer is icing the puck. B. The rule change was prompted in part by an injury to Joni Pataki, a defenseman for this southern team once known as the Hartford Whalers.
Seals.
It says Carolina or Hurricanes. C. The Carolina Hurricanes are based in this capital of North Carolina. It's Robert.
Oh.
Justin is.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
No, I think about Carolina.
So final score, 205 to 155.
Okay. This man's $100 fine was mistakenly set by a judge, not the jury. He was convicted of violating the Butler Act in spite of Clarence Darrow's cross-examination of prosecutor William Jennings Bryan. 10 points, named this defendant in a monkey trial. Did I say William Jennings?
Yeah, you said William Jennings Bryan. You still do. No.
France restored its monarchy after Napoleon's defeat for 10 points each. A. Name the brother of Louis XVI, put on the throne he ruled until 1824.
Louis.
I need prompt.
Valdol.
Louis XVIII is the correct answer. Okay. Louis XVIII was succeeded by his brother Charles X, the last French monarch from his royal house. Bourbon. Charles X was overthrown during an 1830 revolution named for this month.
Oh wait, no, it was October.
July.
Yeah. Dude, that makes a lot of sense.
July Revolution. Yeah. No, October was also, and then it was December too.
Okay, here we go. Toss-up number 2. One bridge spanning this body of water crosses Yerba Buena Island. The eastern half of this body of water is in Alameda County. Angel Island and Alcatraz Island lie within.
San Francisco.
Oh, sorry.
San Francisco Bay?
Okay, just over.
Oh, sorry.
Or did you?
Yeah, he knew it.
Okay. For 10 points each, name these states where bans on same-sex marriage are being challenged in 2014. A. This state's newly elected Attorney General, Mark Herring, announced he would not defend its ban. Captain? Who's your captain, guys? I need your answer. That is correct. It is the Commonwealth of Fiji. B. This state's ACLU is filing suit on behalf of 8 gay couples. A football player from a university in the state, Michael Sam, hopes to become the first openly gay NFL player.
California?
As incorrect, it is Missouri. In February, Judge John Hayburn held that this state must recognize valid same-sex marriages performed elsewhere. He stopped short of ordering it to issue licenses of its own.
Utah?
As incorrect, it is the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Okay. Number 3. These mathematical entities make up a spanning set or a basis. The gradient operator produces one, and the parallelogram rule is a method for adding them.
Yours?
Yours is right. No, you just missed it. You just missed it. It was after about 4. Okay. Here we go. Bonus questions. A Hasbro World Conquest game allows players to turn in sets of 3 cards to earn additional armies for 10 points each. A. Name that original game with 2210 AD and Godstorm spin-offs.
Risk?
B. 2 continents are worth 5 armies apiece if they are controlled. Name them both.
Australia and Europe?
The answer is Europe and North America.
Australia and Korea.
C. In Risk, an attacker may roll a maximum of this many red die. Your answer, Captain? 3 is the correct answer. So they got Risk. They got 8.
Risk rewards hardships.
Okay. Here's the toss-up. This religion's creation myth is set down in a record of ancient matters entitled Kujikai. In 797, the Emperor Kamu commissioned the Soku Nigangi, containing more legends about its central kami, like the goddess. Here's your bonus questions. Adam Scott earned a green jacket in 2013 for 10 points each. A. That occurred at this major golf tournament held every April in Georgia.
Masters?
Okay. B. The Masters is held at this golf club in a namesake city.
Savannah?
Augusta. C. Scott won when he recorded this type of score on the second playoff hole. It represents a score of 1 under par.
Birdie is correct, so we had,
It's 15 to
This figure's name appears in the title of a novel inspired by the lives of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg by E.L. Doctorow. In the Bible, he saves Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from a fiery furnace. The writing on the wall was read by, for 10 points, what man who survives a lion's den? A male Greek god of fertility and spring had the horns, ears, and legs of a goat, with 10 points each. A. Name that god known for playing pipes and chasing nymphs. Captain? That is the correct. It's Pan. B. Pan was friendly with this Greek god of wine. That's correct. Pan lived in this region of Greece whose name now denotes a pristine romantic wilderness. Nicholas Poussin painted shepherds examining a tomb here. Arcadia?
Yeah.
They got.
Question 1. This work originally directed performers to press the sustained pedal throughout its first movement. They begin with repeated triplets over a descending C-sharp minor scale. The title, Quasi una Fantasia, is given to, for 10 points, what Beethoven piano sonata with a lunar nickname. Flatworms have bilateral symmetry and lack a body cavity. For 10 points, they belong to this phylum. Incorrect. Bloody helmets. Most members of the flatworm class, Turbellaria, move using these short microscopic hairs on their ventral surface. Correct. Members of the parasitic flatworm class, Tremotata, commonly called flukes, choose their first host, a member of this phylum. It also includes snails and squids.
Oh, this is mollusks, right? No.
Correct, mollusks. This region contains the hills of Samaria and the town of Jenin. It also contains the northwest quadrant of the Dead Sea and the cities of Jericho, Bethlehem, and East Jerusalem. For 10 points, identify this Palestinian territory named for its position relative to the Jordan.
West Bank?
Correct. This westernmost point of mainland Africa is Kafur Peninsula. For 10 points each, it is part of this country that shares the name with Africa's 8th longest river. Correct, Senegal. Save for its very short Atlantic coastline, this thin country is completely surrounded by Senegal. Its capital is Banjul. Gambia.
Leads in South America.
Prior to its independence in 1960, Senegal was ruled by this European nation that also colonized Algeria. Question 13. This real quantity is added to I times the rectans to form its complex counterpart in AC circuits, which is called impedance. In DC circuits, this quantity is the reciprocal of conductance. 10 points in this ratio of voltage to current that is measured in ohms.
Resistance?
Correct. The 2013 Westgate shopping mall attack in Nairobi was allegedly retribution for Kenya's intervention in another nation. For 10 points each, name that African nation home to the terrorist group Al-Shabaab.
Somalia, Somalia?
Correct.
Yeah.
Al-Shabaab is affiliated with this international network that bombed the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi in 1998 and was behind the 9/11 attacks.
Okay.
Correct. This Kenyan president received a bounce in the polls after handling the Westgate attack. He is a son of the country's founder.
That's the name that sounds like it. Kenyatta.
Correct.
Kenyatta. Clear.
Oh yeah. 2014 J is one of these objects in M82 that will anchor the cosmic distance ladder. The 2011 Physics Nobel Prize was awarded for using these standard candles that show accelerating cosmic expansion. Neutron stars left behind for 10 points by stellar explosions that dwarf Mira Novae. Correct. Net force equals product of mass and acceleration. For 10 points each, name that member of Newton's laws of motion.
Momentum?
Incorrect. Newton's second law of motion.
Oh.
Another form of Newton's second law of motion sets net force equal to the time derivative of this quantity. Correct.
Oh.
Newton's laws of motion were originally published in this 1987 book. Did I say 19?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 1687. Incorrect. Principia.
Principia.
Oh, sorry. It's pronounced? Is that right?
Principia, no.
The pronunciation. This amendment requires just compensation when the state exercises eminent domain. It also protects against being tried twice for the same crime, which is called double jeopardy. For 10 points in this amendment, a person can plead to avoid answering a question.
Fifth.
Correct.
Fourth was
Shut. Like, you can't shut the syllabus.
Oh, maybe we can. If not, it's what's it?
The speaker of a poem notes that his apple trees will never interfere with his neighbor's plants. For 10 points each, name that poem whose speaker is told, good fences make good neighbors.
It's poem or poet? The house.
Correct. The mending wall. This American wrote Mendingrel and stopping woods on a snowy evening. Frost? Yeah. The title trees of this other frost poem bed left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees. Incorrect. Birches.
Toss-up 17, in January 2014, this head of state joined Barack Obama to visit Monticello shortly before he had broken up with the de facto First Lady, Valerie Trailweiler, after an affair with Incorrect. An affair with Julie Gaillet came to light. For 10 points, name this socialist to replace Nicolas Sarkozy as French president.
Oh.
Hollinger?
Can't accept that. Francois Hollande.
Oh.
That was Eric Unig, right?
Yeah.
Shame,
Affair, I thought
shame
it was,
on you.
Affair is Putin. Putin also had an affair.
Yeah, but shame on you.
Oh. Shame on you, how faithful.
Toss-up 18. Whether a lyotropic material is in this phase depends on temperature and concentration. It has long-range order in some, but not all dimensions, and its molecules can be aligned by electric fields. For 10 points, name this intermediate phase between solid and liquid.
Oh, no. Super dense liquid.
Correct. Between solid and liquid, the LC and LCDs.
Liquid crystal.
Yeah. Albert coming in clutch. Bonus, the Bernese Alps terminate just south of the lake on which the city of Lausanne sits, with 10 points each. A, name that European lake that shares its name with the city containing the headquarters of the International Red Cross.
Geneva.
Correct. B, Lake Geneva is shared by France and this mountainous landlocked nation with the capital Bern.
Switzerland.
C, the primary outflow from Lake Geneva is this river. It empties into the Mediterranean Sea near the city of Arles. Arles. Answer? It's the Rhone River. This novel's protagonist is fired from a menial job at Donner's Bakery. Professor Niemer feels threatened by this novel's protagonist.
Yes. Yes.
Donner's Bakery.
That's what I'm thinking.
Wait, that was you, right? Oh, damn. That would be bad. Oh, not me.
Yes.
I should like look up on
No
problem.
Yeah. Round's still going on.
Got mental problems.
India's only female prime minister was assassinated in 1984 by her own bodyguards. For what's he? A, name that leader. B, Indira Gandhi was the daughter of this first prime minister of independent India.
Nehru.
C, this younger son of Indira Gandhi, who succeeded her as prime minister, was assassinated by a suicide bomber in 1991. Correct. 13.
Did you get all of those too?
Yeah.
Wow.
But can we do one more
Is this the
score
last
check?
one, or is
The
there
score
21?
check right now is 290 Jericho, 250 Hills East.
Is there 21 then?
What do you mean is there 21?
You know, number
We missed one.
I'm on question 21 on the sheet, so we're on question
Okay.
20.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Toss up the last. This man's first wife was the daughter of Zachary Taylor. In 1867, Horace Greeley signed this Mississippian's bail bond. 2 years earlier, this former Secretary of War under Franklin Pierce had held an executive office in Richmond. 10 points, name this Confederate president.
Jefferson Davis.
That was really
A
intense.
mariner from New York is shipwrecked on an uninhabited island on the coast of America. For 10 points each, A, name the title character of a Daniel Defoe novel.
Robinson Crusoe.
Correct. Crusoe had been on that ship to purchase slaves for his plantation. He lived in this South American country to which nearly 40% of enslaved Africans were transported.
Brazil.
Correct. C, a 1722 Defoe novel is structured as a journal of this type of year. It is also the title of a 1947 Albert Camus novel set in the city of Oran.
I don't know.
There's a country or book. Algier, the Stranger.
Plague.
What?
Oh,
Did you just say a random book? The Stranger, right?
The Stranger's on
The Stranger's not Camus, but so is
Oh.
Blake.
Just that people translate the Stranger.
All right. So at the end of the round, I have 320 to 250.
Oh,
By everyone.
Pass confidence.
You guys all set?
Ready?
All right, let's start it up. In this organ, cells are connected by intercalculated discs. Specialized action potentials are transmitted by
Brain.
incorrect. By Purkinje fibers that originate in its sinoatrial node. That node is this organ's pacemaker. For 10 points, name this four-chambered organ at the center of the circulatory system. Correct.
Swear.
Bonus.
Can you close the door?
Thank you. For 10 points each. In which part of the electromagnetic spectrum would one find the Lyman series of hydrogen's emission lines?
We did that last year.
Short end?
Ultraviolet, or UV.
Oh, okay.
Wi-Fi signals of approximately 2.48 gigahertz?
Wait.
Correct. The point of peak intensity per unit wavelength of the sun as given by Wien's displacement law.
Gamma rays?
Incorrect. Visible light.
Oh.
Okay.
I love
So, toss up 2. This modern day country is the primary setting of the novels Buddenbrooks, The Spy Who Came in the Cold, and The Book Thief. Authors born in this country wrote The Tin Drum and Steppenwolf. For 10 points, name this homeland of Thomas Mann. And
Germany?
correct. Bonus. The Capulets are reconciled with their enemies in a Shakespearean tragedy about two star-crossed lovers. For 10 points each, name that play. Correct. Romeo and his cousin Benvolio belong to this family, which is the great enemy. Correct. Romeo is exiled after he kills this cousin of Juliet. Mercutio calls him the very butcher of a silk button. Correct. Toss up 3. This type of event caused much of Calgary to evacuate in 2013. Dozens were killed by this type of disaster in Burundi's capital in February 2014. That same month, another struck London for 10 points.
Fire.
Incorrect. Name this type of disaster due in England to the Thames and North Bay overflowing. Correct.
Fire. Wait.
2014.
No. Steven, wait.
Bonus. For 10 points each, give the following about the cultural influence of Star Trek. The episode Plato's Stepchildren.
Okay.
My foot, okay? I didn't chuck it this time. We're okay? Hold on. Why don't we figure that out?
I got it, it's alright.
Figure that out while we do the bonus. Figure that out while we do the bonus, okay? The episode Plato's Stepchildren featured one of television's first interracial kiss. It involved Lieutenant O'Hara, and this captain of the Enterprise. Correct. This roommate of Leonard Hofstadter attends a Renaissance fair dressed as Spock.
It's Sheldon. Yeah, Sheldon.
Correct. This 1999 parody film stars Tim Allen as a starship captain who removes his shirt at the slightest pretext, and Sigourney Weaver as an officer whose job is repeating what the computer just said.
They're fine.
No, Galaxy Quest. Yeah, try the buzzer. Look at that. Beautiful. Not totally.
You want to know.
Alright, let's move on. Shows up 4. This vice presidential candidate of Victoria Woodhull was the only black man to attend the Seneca Falls Convention. This former slave of correct for power. Bonus. The North American Free Trade Agreement was signed in 1992 for 10 points each. This president signed it for America. His son served as the 43rd president.
Bush. George H.W. Bush.
Correct. Bush also signed this 1990 act that prohibits discrimination based on employees' physical limitations. It also requires many facilities to be wheelchair accessible.
American Disability Act.
Correct.
Oh, God. Shush.
Bush appointed this African-American judge to the Supreme Court during his confirmation hearings. He was accused of sexual harassment by Anita Hill.
Thurgood Marshall.
One more time?
Clarence Thomas.
Correct. Alright. Toss up number 5. This man's namesake, transformations, link inertial reference frames in Newtonian mechanics. His work with balls on inclined planes led to his law of uniform acceleration. For 10 points, name this Italian who allegedly dropped balls of different... Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, identify these historical computing devices. The Chinese swanpan is an example of this device whose rows have 2 beads on one side and 5 beads on the other. Correct. This device, based on logarithmic scales, was used to perform computations prior to the advent of handheld calculators in the 1970s. Answer.
Computer.
Slide rule. Before designing an analytic engine, Charles Babbage worked on this mechanical device to evaluate polynomials. Close. Difference engine. All right.
At long last, after 5 preliminary rounds and 5 playoff rounds, we arrive at this championship round. Is everybody ready? Does everybody remember the most important thing is to have fun? We can. I suppose that's fine. Alright, go toss up the first one. In 2014, this country called for an end to the full Eagle military exercise. In 2013, it imprisoned Mel.
What street?
A 2012 New York Times review was chefs American Kitchen and Bar commented on the irony of a sign reading "Welcome to Flavor Town." At 10 points each. A. Name that spiky-headed host of TV series Dine and Drive and Die.
Guy Fieri.
Correct. B. Minors Drivers Have Died airs on this network. Its other shows include Barefoot Contestant and Chopped. Correct. C. The Food Network also airs a celebrity cook-off pitting Fieri against this host for 30-minute meals.
I had a question.
Yeah, I was gonna go over and do that actually. I'm just gonna wait. Is this the radiator?
It's the radiator, not the boiler.
Oh my god, I feel so cool right now. Toss of 2. Each water molecule has 2 of these entities. The strong repulsion gives water a bond angle less than 109.5 degrees.
Look pairs.
15. Classical geometric structures only allow 2 tools. 10 points each. A. One is the compass, the other is this idealized unmarked tool for drawing lines. Correct. B. Drawing circles around either end of a given segment and connecting their 2 points of intersection creates a line with this relationship to the segment.
Perpendicular. Perpendicular?
Prompt.
Perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular bisector.
Correct. C. One construction that is impossible using just a straight edge and compass is constructing a cube that has this property relative to a given cube.
Double the volume.
Yeah. Topic 3. This group rescued the shipwrecked sons of Phrixus and used a dove to see if they could pass the Symplegades, which were a pair of clashing rocks. They joined a quest for an object owned by King Aeetes of Colchis.
The Argonauts?
Yeah, and just out of power.
Yeah.
You're Joe, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Bonus, in February 2014, an American company announced to remove sorboric acid from its single-use cheese product. With 10 points each. A. Name that company that also makes Velveeta and Easy Mac. B. Sorbic acid was this type of additive in Kraft singles. Another food, nitrates, and salt play this role. C. Sorbic acid is not to be confused with asorbic acid, which in the context of nutrition is this vitamin. Deficiency of it causes scurvy. This man rested at Martin's Station during an expedition commissioned by Richard Henderson's Transylvania Company. During that expedition, he built the Wilderness Road through the Cumberland Gap. For 10 points, name this frontiersman who founded it. Correct. That's 10. The S in the motto SPQR refers to a governing body of Roman aristocrats. For 10 points each. A. Name that body that shares the same part of the U.S. legislative.
Senate.
Correct. B. The Senate advised these chief Roman magistrates on how war was to be waged. Consuls. C. The Senate was weakened by reforms championed by Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus, 2 brothers who held this magistracy. They had veto power in magistracy. They had veto power representing plebeian interests.
The trivial.
Toss of 5, pencil and paper ready. Jen needs to calculate her average speed for a trip in miles per hour. She began by driving 60 miles at 30 miles per hour, then drove another 60 miles at 60 miles per hour. By dividing total distance by total time, she computes for 10 points what average speed?
40 miles per hour.
Each give the following about the initials WB. A. WB are the initials of this poet who wrote that things fall apart in the second coming.
No. William Butler Yeats.
It's WB is the abbreviation for this SI unit for magnetic force. Yep. C, the Warner Brothers spin-off Time Warner Cable announced that in 2014 it would merge with this largest cable and internet access provider in the U.S. And 5 out of Gotham, 178 Jeffrey. 6, at the end of the 2012 season, this team used one of its current wide receivers, Joe Webb, as a quarterback due to an injury to Christian Ponder. During the 2013 season, it acquired Tampa Bay quarterback Josh Freeman for 10 points, and in this NFC team led by running back Adrian Peterson. For 10 points each, name these Chinese cities. A. Kowloon Bay and Victoria Harbor are in this coastal city that Britain returned to China in 1997 after its 99-year lease expired.
Hong Kong.
Correct. B. An annual Grand Prix is held in this city on the Florida Delta. It was controlled by Portugal until 1999.
Macau.
Macau, yeah. C. This city in the Yangtze River Delta was the site of a namesake 1937 massacre by Japanese troops. Its name means Southern Capital. The city's entrance is tended by the Guardian of the Gates, who requires visitors to wear spectacles. A self-professed humbug from Omaha rules this city, which can be reached by a road paved with yellow bricks. Dorothy Gale visits Oz. 5 for 10 points. What city governed by the Wizard of Oz? Albert.
Can you kick it again?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, what is it?
Not even trying. Fuck is happening here. Bonus, the molecule H2O2 is used as a disinfectant and a bleaching agent for 10 points each. A, name that chemical.
Yeah, hydrogen peroxide.
Hydrogen peroxide, yeah. B, hydrogen peroxide is generally stored in opaque bottles to prevent light from catalyzing its breakdown into this class of species with unpaired electrons. Correct. C, hydrogen peroxide typically breaks down into this neutral radical form with formula OH.
Hydroxide? No, water.
They're both incorrect, so. It was hydroxyl. You told me specifically not to accept hydroxide.
Oh yeah, hydroxide.
Toss-up 8. This city's metro area includes the north shore of St. Tammany Parish, which lies north of Lake Pontchartrain. Its most famous celebration.
New Orleans.
19. The Seashore Game and the Narrow Road to the Deep North are two collections by a 17th century poet for 10 points each. A, name that author remembered for a poem about a frog jumping into a pool. Matsuo Basho. B, Basho was a master of this short poetic form derived from the Renga that uses 3 lines. Haiku. Correct. C, haiku is a native to this country where Basho lived during the Edo period.
Oh, Japan.
Sorry.
Almost right. I missed. I do have 2, you're right. Somebody's gonna comment and be like, why aren't you wearing shoes? And then it's gonna be like, oh. Toss up 9. When added to second, this SI prefix gives the term for light to travel 300 meters. With meter, it gives the rough diameter of an E. coli cell. When added to gram, it gives the unit in which the RDA for salt is. One.
Micro.
Hour. That's Chris, right? 10 points each. Name these commanders from NASA's Apollo program. A, this commander of Apollo 11 was the first man to walk on the moon. Correct. B, this first American in space commanded Apollo 14. Alan Shepard. C, Harrison Schmitt and Ronald Evans journeyed on Apollo 17 with this commander. He was the last man to set foot on the moon. Eugene Cernan. Also 10. This ruler studied shipbuilding in Holland long.
Yes.
Oh. I mean, yeah, power.
Shipbuilding in Holland. That was too quick.
In November 2013, rules change prevented a legislative tactic from being used to prevent a presidential nominee from being voted on. For 10 points each, A, name that tactic that a minority in the Senate could use to indefinitely extend debate. Correct. B, this parliamentary procedure, which forces an end to debate, requires a 3/5 supermajority. Cloture. C, this Vermont senator who heads the Senate Judiciary Committee was a long opponent of filibuster reform. He continued with calcitrance on the part of Senate Republicans changed his mind. Patrick Leahy. Alright, so at the half we have Gotham 255, Jericho Bay 95. Oh, let me see what I did. I don't know, I got 0, 0, 0 after the first 3. And then they got 20, right?
Yeah.
And then they didn't get any in the next 2, and then they got, then on question 7 you got 10, and did they get 30 bonus points?
We didn't know they got 20.
My bad. Alright, we're good. Class of 11. This poet described his life on the Sabine farm and addressed his patron Maecenas in his book of satires. He advocated for juvenile. Nick 5. He advocated for giving great authors for continuity errors by noting that even good Homer nods in his art poetica. For 10 points each, name this Roman who coined the phrase carpe diem. Correct. Horace. Well, this musical begins with a requiem that makes the claim she did nothing for years in Oh What a Circus. This musical's protagonist sings it won't be easy, you'll think it's strange, and don't cry for me, Argentina. For 10 points, name this 1967 Andrew Lloyd Webber movie. Make 5. How about Eva Peron? Or it's Evita.
Say it again.
Evita. E-V-I-T. Also 13, this state's native authors include Robert K.T. Coffin, Sarah Orne Jewett, and Stephen King. Lewiston and Bangor are among the most popular states. 15.
Banger.
Yeah, I'll get it out. I'll get it in a second. Plia and arabesques are common moves in the tempo dance. For 10 points each, A, name that dance form. It's
It's a bonus.
Defer.
Wait, nobody got the toss up.
Wait, was
I
that
got
my
the-
bad?
She got
Oh, wait, no, yeah, she
Oh,
got
right.
the power on.
My bad, my
That's
bad.
right. Okay, so what was that? No, ballet. B, this dancer and choreographer who died at age 96 is often regarded as the progenitor of contemporary ballet. She premiered Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring. Martha Graham. C, in 1960, this man choreographed Revelations for his namesake contemporary dance company that was originally all African American.
What? Simon Cowell?
No, Alvin Ailey. Zero on the bone.
Anti-sweet.
Yeah. Lesson 14. This interaction affects only right-handed chiral antiparticles, violating parity conservation, and this theory is called QFD. This force can change quark flavors and is characterized with W. 10. One word. Hollow. Kinetic energy is not always conserved during a collision for 10 points each. A, gave the 9-letter adjective for collisions in which it is not conserved. B, the specific type of inelastic collision results in the two bodies sticking together and moving as one.
Isn't you for that? Compact collision?
Perfect inelastic collision. C, a perfect inelastic collision will have a value of 0 for this coefficient equal to the ratio of the body's relative speed before and after the collision.
No answer.
Restitution.
Oh.
Toss-up 15. The cactus curtain is the perimeter of this site that was leased in 1903, though only one unrent check has been cashed. Camp Delta was built at this site in 2002 to house detainees from Afghanistan. A U.S. Navy base is located on The 18th century author proposed to survey mankind from China to Peru in his poem The Vanity of Human Wishes. For 10 points each. A, name that English author who also wrote the tragedy Irene and the allegorical fable Gabriel as Solace.
Longfellow.
Samuel Johnson. B, Johnson took 9 years to produce a vast reference work of this type that attempted to catalog the sovereignty of words.
Dictionary.
Dictionary?
C, Johnson's biographer was this Scot, whom Johnson called the most unscotified of his countrymen.
Smith.
Boswell. 16. This work's first line is mentioned in Gentle Rains of April. The dream of a fox frightens the rooster chicken chanticleer in a section narrated by a nun's priest. Pilgrims such as the Frank...
Canterbury Tales.
2013, Thomas Perez became head of a cabinet department for 10 points each. A, named the department whose headquarters is named for Francis Perkins. Department of Labor. B, the MSHA agency of the Department of Labor is responsible for the safety of these workplaces. Mines. C, the Department of Labor was established by this 20th century president who went on to serve as Chief Justice. He practiced a foreign policy known as dollar diplomacy. Good old Willie. 17, this mountain range, which contains Toubkal National Park, passes through the cities of Marrakesh and Fez. Is dominated.
Alice.
Yeah, that was power. Sorry, I didn't say that one. For 10 points each, name these Japanese leaders from World War II. A. This Emperor of Japan renounced his divine status at the end of the war. B. This admiral who planned the attack on Pearl Harbor was killed when his plane was shot down over the Solomon Islands. C. The attack on Pearl Harbor was authorized by a committee headed by this Prime Minister, who was hanged for war crimes after the war.
That was really amazing.
Toss up 18. This organelle that has cis and trans faces is composed of stacks called
Golgi apparatus.
15. Oh, almost wrote that in the wrong one. Elijah flees the Shelby plantation with a young son and escapes to Canada before settling in Liberia. For 10 points each. A. That occurred in this novel about life among the lowly.
The Adventures of Smith.
Uncle Tom's Cabin. B. Uncle Tom's Cabin on the Shelby farm stood in this border state with a short western border on the Mississippi River. Kentucky. C. Simon Legree viciously beats Uncle Tom after he refuses to use this kind of weapon to punish another slave. I can't accept that. It's a whip. 0 on this one. Toss up 19. With Duke Ellington, this man recorded the album together for the first time.
Louis Armstrong.
You're a good person for knowing that.
Nice. Jazz.
Finally.
A classic example of these is the statement, "All Cretans are liars," and when uttered by a man from Crete. For 10 points each. A. Name the self-contradictory statement or situations. These self-contradictory. Paradox. B. This philosopher from Elea stated several paradoxes, including one involving a race between Achilles and a tortoise. Zeno. C. Another notable paradox which shows that George Cantor's set theory leads to a contradiction was proposed by this British co-author of Principia Mathematica. Answer? Russell.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they asked me for something about that.
Toss up the last. Living History is the memoir of this politician who defeated John Spencer to win re-election as a New York Senator in 2006 and then took second in the 2008 Democratic primary to Barack Obama. John Kerry's predecessor.
Hillary Clinton.
Nice.
The creation of Adam is the central scene of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. For 10 points each. A. Name his painter.
Michelangelo.
Correct. B. This many rectangular scenes decorate the center of that ceiling. They are separated by trompe l'oeil pillars. 6, 9. C. This artist painted frescoes like Disputation of the Holy Sacrament for the Vatican's Stanza della Signatura. Answer? Raphael. Just name the Ninja Turtle, guys.
Sorry, we don't know our art.
It's alright. Alright, so at the end of the game, score is Gotham 320, Jericho A 180. Gotham, you have one part of the point here. I congratulate you. We'll be off and on our way.
Yes, cuts.